Tina, what do you want to buy?
Hi, Susie. Thanks for taking my call. I'd like to buy a Mercedes E550.
It's about $1,400 a month. That is true. You are denied.
Oh, I want to get a Louis Vuitton Tivoli PM bag.
So denied. So denied. It's not even funny. I'm going to deny you again.
I would like to buy a study abroad in Iceland. I want to go to the famous elf school in Reykjavik and get a certification as an elf spotter.
Here's the thing. I'm denying you.
The problem is that idiots like Karen here make shitty choices when it comes to what to do with their money. Karen, if you had $4,000, would you invest it in your 401k or would you go to the elf school in Reykjavik?
Elf school?
No! You put it in your 401k, you idiot!
But most people remember their first 401k meeting as dumbfounding.
Any questions?
I had no idea. I was so confused. I came out of that meeting and I was like, oh my God. It was overwhelming for me, the knowledge that you had to have in order to invest.
I really was kind of clueless. I didn't know what I wanted to invest in. I really didn't know anything about it. I had learned I had heard something about if you're young, you should be more willing to take risks. You have time. So other than that, I really knew nothing.
The majority of ordinary people don't know how to do that. It's a very complex task.
We wanted them to be able to figure out how much they needed to save for retirement, how to invest that money, and then once they had a lump sum once they retired, how to withdraw the money so they didn't outlive their assets.
And I'm here with a bunch of fucking ribbon, and I'm using it to show people how much money they needed to save for retirement. Aw, look at you. You're so precocious. One tiny thing, these are fees. That's your record-keeping fee? That's your rap fee? That's your monthly participation fee. That's your 12B-1 fee. That fee goes to some middleman you don't even know about. And that's your fee for not knowing about a fucking fee. And here's what you've got left to retire on. Try ribbon dancing with this. You look like an idiot.
Name of the game, move the money from your client's pocket into your pocket.
We have talked to a financial advisor, and he recommended that we put it in an annuity.
I knew it. Before you said that, I was going to say, wait, let me tell you. I can tell you what the financial advisor said. Did that advisor also say to you that if you put that $80,000 in there, I'm going to make about $4,000 of commissions? Did he or she happen to tell you that as well?
Number one rule of Wall Street, nobody, I don't care if you're Warren Buffett or if you're Jimmy Buffett, nobody knows if the stock is going to go up, down, sideways, or in fucking circles. Least of all stockbrokers. Right? It's all a fugazi. You know what a fugazi is?
No, fugazi. It's fake.
Yeah, fugazi, it's a wazi, it's a woozy, it's a fairy dust. It doesn't exist. It's never landed. It is no matter. It's not on the elemental chart. It's not fucking real.
Right.
All right? Right. Stay with me. We don't create shit. We don't build anything.
No.
So if you got a client who bought stock at 8 and it now sits at 16 and he's all fucking happy, he wants to cash in, liquidate, take his fucking money and run home, you don't let him do that.
Okay.
Because that would make it real.
Right.
No, what do? You get another brilliant idea, a special idea, another situation, another stock to reinvest his earnings and then some. And he will every single time because they're fucking addicted. And then you just keep doing this again and again and again. Meanwhile, he thinks he's getting shit rich, which he is on paper. But you and me, the brokers, we're taking home cold hard cash via commission, motherfucker.
Right.
I have a 401k, I save in it. It hasn't seemed to go up. It's awful. I kept checking the statement. I'd be like, why does this thing never go up? This is weird. I mean, the stock market I knew was up and down, but I was like, I still should be seeing some returns.
Hilton Smith decided to make a research project out of the subject. He began by looking at the investment options inside his 401k plan, 22 funds in all.
I went through each of these, the actual fund prospectuses, which took me an exorbitant amount of time because each of these things were, 50 pages long. They still wouldn't tell you what they were doing. I was digging into all the different aspects of it, and I kept coming back to fees. So here's the first mention of fees. This X ratio right here. Why would you think that X ratio means fees?
Hilton Smith found over a dozen different kinds of fees.
There are legal fees, trustee fees, transactional fees, stewardship fees, bookkeeping fees, finder's fees, and the list goes on and on.
Fees when you withdraw money, fees when you take loans, fees when you actually get money out when you're retired, which I actually didn't even know about. I spent a month literally going, oh, actually this fee is a subtype of this fee, And oh, that covers that, or no, that's another name for that. It was very opaque.
The average actively managed mutual fund carries an annual expense of 1.3%. Some funds charge a fee of 2%, and even as high as 5%.
Retirement, sit back, relax, pull out the paper, and what? An article that says a typical family pays $155,000 in Wall Street fees on their 401ks? Seriously? Seriously, you don't believe it? Search it.
The average American household will pay nearly $155,000 over the course of a lifetime in fees alone. That's according to a new study. Here to break it all down, Robert Hilton Smith.
When we looked at it, we really found that all of the costs of retirement are really being shifted onto individuals.
Crystal Mendez started saving for retirement in her early 20s, but she rarely looked at her account and just assumed it was doing well.
One day, my fiancé was looking at his retirement, and he was essentially bragging about how great he was doing. So I pulled out my annual report, and we kind of compared notes, and I realized that he was doing far better than I was. He basically said, honey, I think you're getting ripped off. We should look into this.
After looking at the fine print, Mendez found out that not only was she paying high fees, she was invested in an annuity with a high surrender fee, a penalty for any early withdrawals.
I think it was 10% was the surrender fee. So I was like, battling with myself. Do I really want to give these people my money or leave it there and then I won't have a surrender fee? But I think in the end, I just said, forget it. They can have the fee and I'll move on with the remainder of my money.
In order to get their offerings placed on employer 401k menus, mutual funds rely on brokers and plan administrators. In return, the brokers ask for a payment or revenue share. It's a kind of pay-to-play arrangement, or as some say, a kickback, that adds another layer of costs to retirement plans.
A lot of people use a term like kickback because in some ways it's a legal kickback. There's nothing against the law about it, but it is a sort of you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours kind of arrangement. If you sell our funds, you will get a portion of the revenue we earn from selling them through you.
The brokers are getting a little religion here. They're saying, why should I distribute your funds unless you pay me to? You get these big management fees, I want some of it. You're getting plenty, give me some.
Thanks to something called compound interest. Now, whenever retirement companies like Prudential mention that, it's always as a positive, that if you start with a really small investment, by the time you're ready to retire, it will have substantially grown.
It's hard to imagine how something so small can help with something so big. But if you start putting that toward your retirement every week and let it grow over time, for 20 to 30 years, that retirement challenge might not seem so big after all.
Compound interest works both ways, meaning while your money adds up, your fees can really add up too.
Assume you're invested in a fund that is earning a gross annual return of 7%. They charge you a 2% annual fee. Over 50 years, the difference between your net of 5%, the red line, and what you would have made without fees, the green line, is staggering. You've lost almost 2/3 of what you would have had.
2/3 of what you would have had is gone. So think of fees like termites. They're tiny, they're barely noticeable, and they can eat away your f***ing future.
It's free. It's almost like a free ride.
This advisor's talking about mutual funds. Eventually, he admits there's a fee.
So they're charging 2%.
Okay, but get this. He says Melissa will only pay it on the amount that her investment makes.
On the growth of the 50,000.
Okay.
So if your 50,000 grew by 1,000.
So it'd be 2% on the 1,000?
Yeah, 2% on the 1,000.
It would only be on then what that 50,000
has
made.
done. Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah. Kind of neat, eh?
Is it just on what we're making, or is that of our full amount that's in there?
Fee is it's on the percentage of returns of the fund.
Okay.
So it's like, sorry, I just want to make sure I'm thinking about this properly. Like, it's not on. Just seeing if I can find like a easy definition.
Every segment of 10 to 20 years,
yes,
there is usually called a historical rate of return of 10 to 12%.
And mention that high return over and over.
Investment probably will make about 10 to 12%. Make more, maybe get 10, 20%.
Okay.
So it will make a little bit more than 10 to 12.
Yeah, yeah.
Potential.
Okay.
If you do it right, you can get, say, 5,000 within just a few months, couple months, yeah. Yes.
Wow, and he's not done yet.
10,000 after a year, or 15,000, or maybe 20,000 after a year.
So you're laughing.
Yeah, that's one of the worst pieces of advice I've ever heard in my life. That's ludicrous.
There are registered investment advisors or fiduciaries who are obligated by law to act in their clients' best interests.
Let's talk about the cookie-cutter retirement advice you get at some
But
places.
the vast majority of so-called advisors, around 85%, are not fiduciaries.
Basically, your guy is out for himself to maximize his sales, and the way he does it is to be loyal to the mutual fund. And they try to sell you the most profitable products.
The salesperson working on a commission basis offered Shulo an annuity, a retirement insurance product with what he thought was a guaranteed return of 12% a year.
So I signed up for $200 a month, and for about 5 years, the interest rate was going way down to 3%. And I was wondering, what the heck is going on here? Why is it down to 3%? I didn't understand that the insurance company has the right every year to reset that rate as they see fit.
Another broker sold an annuity to the Featherstons after the crash of 2008. At the time, it seemed suitable.
This was a product that we had discussed with him, and we thought that this would insulate some of our money from what we had just gone through, what a lot of people had just gone through.
Right. You know, we trusted him.
Yeah, we trust him.
Yeah, we trust him.
But the problems came after Mark got laid off and the couple had to break into their account.
I mean, we're talking on $7,000, the fees have been upwards of $600 just to get the money out.
I can agree paying the 10% penalty, to Uncle Sam, but, these companies need to realize that they're making money off the backs of people that have worked hard for their money. It makes you mad, but, what are you going to do? You're powerless.
We actually decided we wanted to set up a 401k for our employees. Our researchers started going through the documents and started adding up the fees, which came to a combined 1.69%. And that was before we paid a $24 per person per year fee and the fees on our funds. So they asked John Hancock why the fees were that high. And we were told that it was normal for a start-up plan at a new company, and Hancock gave us a lower number that it would come down to over time. And we said, okay, that sounds fine. And our researchers said, wait, no, that is not fine. That number is still higher than experts have told us that we'd want it to be. Our researchers took the Hancock contract and sent it to financial experts who flagged an intermediary fee to a broker, 1% the first year and 0.5% after that. And remember, that could add up. Who the is this broker? And it turned out he was a guy Avalon had agreed to pay to help them set up and support our plan. And we asked him, why didn't you present us with low-cost, low-frills plans like the one from Vanguard, and what are we paying you so much for? And he said, well, first of all, our plan was probably too complicated for Vanguard, and that he did a lot of things for us, like acting as our financial advisor. Although, as we now know, that term doesn't necessarily mean much. When we asked if he was a fiduciary, he, unsurprisingly, said no.
To understand this fee business, I went to talk to someone who has thought long and hard about it. Jack Bogle, the founder of Vanguard, a company that offers some of the lowest fee products on the market. He says that if you want to improve your retirement outcome, make sure to minimize Wall Street's take.
Costs are a crucial part of the equation. It doesn't take a genius to know that the bigger the profit of the management company, the smaller the profit that investors get. The money managers always want more, and that's natural enough in most businesses, but it's not right for this business.
There is growing evidence that, over the long term, most managed funds do no better and often do worse than the market. It's basically the plot of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. If you stick around doing nothing while everyone around you f***s up, you're going to win big. And the thing is, this is not a secret. Even some of the people charging those fees know that this is the reality.
One of the ultimate dirty secrets of the fund industry is that a lot of people who run other fund companies own index funds in their own accounts and don't talk about it.
Even many Wall Street experts find it difficult to consistently beat the market. And there is sometimes embarrassing evidence of this, like when a group of professionals were pitted in a stock-picking challenge against a cat named Orlando.
Orlando's method, he throws a toy mouse at a grid of companies. Very scientific. Last year, Orlando's picks returned nearly 11%, while the pros had gained just 3.5%.
Evidence is overwhelming. Year after year, actively managed mutual funds fail to beat index funds. Studies have borne this out repeatedly over various time periods, in bull and bear markets.
Yeah, I haven't seen any research that substantiates that. I mean, I don't know whether it's true or not. I honestly have not seen any research that substantiates that.
So all the research that's done at Vanguard that makes that argument, you've looked at that?
No, I haven't read everything. But so much of it depends on, what I need is different than what you need, and there's not an asset allocation or a fund strategy that's right for everybody.
Shouldn't I want to only work with somebody who has a fiduciary obligation?
Not necessarily. No. No.
Isn't it better?
It's different. It can cost more. You may not get any different advice or outcome, and it can cost you more.
Should I prefer somebody with a fiduciary responsibility?
So that's a question that can only be answered on a personal basis, based on what your level of need is, what your risk appetite is, and how much of the investment decision you want to delegate. I wish it was simpler.
So this is it here.
Corey Wickham takes us past the house he used to own before bad financial advice cost him his marriage and his home.
Lots of hard work and lots of hours to have it all taken away by your financial advisor. I'm gonna have to declare personal bankruptcy.
Now he's living at a friend's place. His advisor convinced Corey and his wife to sign up for loans.
I put all my faith in them.
And then invested that borrowed cash.
Here's one loan for $106,081.80.
The investments tanked, and the lenders came looking for their money.
What do you mean I'm responsible for $150,000? That's ludicrous. That's not what was supposed to happen. And nor was it ever explained to me that these were the possibilities.
That's when Corey found out his advisor had signed him up for high-risk investments. Thing is, Corey doesn't like risk.
No, money's too hard. It's hard to come by, and I worked really hard to get to where I had gotten.
I think, and I do think that we'll definitely be working until our probably mid-70s. If I had to make a...
Our portfolio had gone all the way down to where it was in 1996, from 1.5 million to 500,000.
460, I think.
All that was gone.
I was close to a $500,000 I had in my 401k with company stock. It was like, wow, look at all the money we have. Look at what is happening. I can retire probably when I'm 45.
The dot-com failures continue to mount.
Skoczynski not only lost her savings, she lost her job.
Disco Today filed for Chapter 11.
The day I got laid off, I lost it. I thought, oh my God, I'm a single parent. I have no job. I have a house payment. What do I do? And I was scared, really scared. I didn't have much of a retirement left. I couldn't even borrow against it. And it was just something that I never foresaw, ever. Losing my job, ever. Never. Will I be able to keep my house? Well, what if my car breaks down? I can't afford a car payment. It just can't be this hard to make money. I can't. You hear these big companies with these people taking these huge bonuses. You're thinking, well, what happened to the average Joe? They just don't care. They've made their money already.
Growing outrage over those bonuses.
The year the markets crashed, Wall Street doled out $18 billion in bonuses.
I feel like I'll be working for the rest of my life.
It's hard to imagine, even at this point in my life, being retired.
My retirement plan is fingers crossed and pray, basically. Yeah, win the lottery, hope my dad has more money than he does, and the truth is, just gonna have to find a way to save way more than you should have to.
Half of all Americans say they can't afford to save for retirement.
The average retirement fund has lost $12,000.
1/3 have next to no retirement savings at all.